Hello! Hello and welcome to Lisa and Alyssa's Fireside Book Chat. So, Alyssa, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. For those who don't know, Alyssa is my daughter-in-law and an avid reader. And we wanted to get together and talk about the books that we read in 2024. All right? Well, Alyssa, can I ask you, what is the first book that you read in 2024?
The first book was from my book club, and it was Yellowface. Would not recommend.
Would not recommend. Do you want to? I heard a lot about Yellowface. I did not read it.
Not much to say.
Not much to say.
She steals a book of it. Yeah. You know, it's not even worth talking about.
Who's the author?
Her name is R.F. Kuang.
Okay. Well, the first book that I read in 2024, and I remember it, I remember sitting on that couch on January 1st and reading The Quiet Man.
Quiet Tenant.
The Quiet. I said my biggest problem is remembering the titles. And here I have the book in my hand and I still... The Quiet Tenant. Now, I love a psychological thriller. I don't really love a thriller.
And this was a psychological thriller.
But I love a psychological thriller. I read this book, I think, in 2 days.
Yeah, and let me tell you, because I started reading the book on January 5th, so that means that you were done with it. But
I gave you my copy.
I gave you, yep, and I finished it on January 8th, which is a lot to say with a toddler.
Yep.
I mean, he wasn't a toddler then, but still, like, it was a good book.
Yeah. I don't know, did I already ask you how many books did you read this year?
Oh, yeah, let's start with that, too. I currently have read 23 books. I'm definitely going to get to 24 by January 1st. And 25 was my goal. So maybe I'll get one in there.
Listen, yeah. And you have a toddler and you work full time. So kudos to you. I don't set a goal. I don't set a goal.
It's probably for the better.
I like to read a book a month because most of my books come from Book of the Month, the Book of the Month Club, where they offer, and I think it's 5 titles now, and you have to pick one of those 5 titles. The Quiet Tenant is not a Book of the Month.
Where'd you find that?
I don't know. I think I got it at Barnes & Noble.
Okay.
I don't know, but listen.
But this book is very, very messed up.
Yeah.
So, like, I loved it so much, but, like, almost don't want to recommend it to people because, like, it's so messed up.
It's like serial killer from the point of view of the woman he has in the shed. I loved it. So much so that I texted Alyssa when I was reading this book and I said, I think that my first book of 2024 is going to be my pick of 2024. Little did I know what 2024 was.
Wait, did you say how many books you read?
I did not say how many books I read.
How many books have you read?
So I have read 24, and the book I'm reading currently is number 25. I'm reading All the Colors of the Dark.
Good cover.
Well, let me tell you something about All the Colors of the Dark. It's also not a book of the month. I bought it on Amazon.
Big book.
Big, thick book. Super short chapters.
Love a short chapter.
How much do you love a short chapter?
We love it.
That's
My book club talks about it a lot, too.
Like 1-page chapters. And I have to tell you, I did pick my favorite of the year, but if I finish this by Wednesday...
Could be.
This is a contender. I am really lost in these characters. Again, serial killer situation.
The best one.
Your girl loves a serial killer. But a psychological. So more about the effects of the people in the town. who were abducted. Abduction, I think, is more the thing. Well, no, he killed some too.
Okay.
But I'm totally into this. So sometimes,
Cute little thing you got there.
sometimes I just put it on my shoulder and go wherever I'm going with my super cool.
Very cute.
With my, so what are you reading now?
So right now I'm reading Don't Let Her Stay.
Oh, Don't Let Her
Don't Let Her Stay
is number 2.
Mm-hmm.
On the I'm sorry to interrupt you. On the left we have Lisa's picks, Lisa's reads of 2024, and on the right we have Alyssa's reads of 2024. I know my reader friends. I'm not going to mention any names, but I know that my reader friends. Actually, I'm going to mention names. I know that some of my reader friends have seen these titles in their own picks.
Yes.
Do you want to go through your list?
Oh, yes. Okay. So, yes, what's behind us, I'm going to just quickly go through and give it a yay or nay, just so everyone knows. So, I am in a book club. We read very different books, all of us, so then, like, the titles that get chosen are just very all over the ballpark. So,
I am not in a book club.
so we're kind of in a book club because any good book she gives me. So
I'm like an uninvited member of Alyssa's book club. I read whatever they're reading, or she borrows.
If they're
whatever
good,
I've
but we
read.
had a lot of duds this year, so that's kind of...
We have had a lot of duds this year.
Okay, Yellowface, no. The Quiet Tenant, yes. Big Swiss, like, I'm going to put it in the middle, like, not yay or nay. The Dirty Book Club, no. Sharp Objects was not book club, and that was good. The Vaster Wild, no. The Harris, did I say that right? Eris. Yes. I don't really remember it, but yes.
We love Rachel Hawkins.
Oh, I gave it 5 stars. So
yeah.
Talking at Night, yes. Listen for the Lie, yes.
Loved Listen for the Lie. That's the podcast one.
Interesting, because I only gave it 2 stars, but I did like it. Why did I only give it 2 stars? Weird. But Goodreads books, like the ratings are hard for me because you only have 5 stars, and I feel like it's hard to rate because, like, to give it 5 stars, like, it has to be the best book you've ever read.
Yeah.
The 5-Star Weekend, that was my first. Eileen how do you say her name?
I don't see the book.
The big one right there.
Oh, Ellen Hilderbrand.
And she has a ton, right? So
yeah,
I will read more of her books. That I liked. Tom Lake I liked. This Summer Will Be Different I liked. The Doctor's Wife I liked. In 5 Years I liked. The Cliffs, nah. Sandwich, yes.
Oh, yeah.
House of Glass, yes. The Summer Book, no. You Again, yes. Wayward, yes. Dinner for Vampires, yes. 50 Shades, no. The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, sure, for a little holiday book.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at.
Wow. So Alyssa and I have 4 books in common that we read this year. Let's talk about Sandwich.
Okay. When are we going to talk about our favorite?
At the end.
Okay.
We'll do pick of the year.
Okay. Sandwich, I read. It was going to be a book club book. We didn't end up going with it, but, like, it really intrigued me, so I read it on vacation. And it was the best. It was, like, how I explain it, it made me nostalgic for the past, the present, and the future. Just a cute little family that I just hope my family is like one day.
So the main character of Sandwich is sandwiched between 2 generations, her aging parents and her growing children. They're college age, I think.
Yeah.
Sandwich really might be, it's a contender for pick of the year. It's a tiny little 200 pages.
Just so good.
And Sandwich was hilarious. Did you, or is it just me?
No, I thought it was funny, but, like, I also cried.
Yes. I laughed out loud reading Sandwich. Bob even said to me when I was reading, and I read Sandwich in the summertime, and he said to me, I have not heard you laugh out loud reading in a very long time. Typically, I laugh out loud when I read David Sedaris or Wally Lamb. And do you mind me segueing into Wally Lamb
No, but
right
real
now?
quick, I read it first, and I'm like really don't like recommending books to people because I'm just very like self-conscious about it. So like I almost didn't even recommend it to her. I was almost like, you might like it. I really don't know. And
Loved.
Yes.
Loved. Don't ever be afraid to recommend a book.
true.
Don't ever be afraid to recommend it, especially a book that you like. So Alyssa and I both don't reread. Life is too short to read the same book twice. This year, I made an exception, and now I'm going to mention a name. Georgine and I reread She's Come Undone. I read this book so many years ago that one of the main characters' names is Dante, and that meant nothing to me when I read it the first time.
I remember you talking.
So that tells you how long ago that was.
Like before kids.
Well, probably.
Okay,
I didn't connect to the name Dante.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Wally Lamb.
I gotta read that.
You have to.
I think I like didn't read it because of how big it was, but now I'm looking at it and it's like
It's fast. It's fast.
Okay.
And I mean, Wally Lamb is my absolute favorite. But this book is near and dear to my heart, and even more so this year that I reread it with Georgine. And it was something that we were able to text about. What page are you on? What page? And sometimes we were on the same page on the same day. And then we got together and did a FaceTime. And we had a little book club. Since I'm not invited to anybody else's book club. I'm just kidding. See, if you haven't read She's Come Undone or anything else by Wally Lamb, especially, I know this much is true, get into Wally Lamb. He's the best. Okay. Oh, can we talk about Kristen Hanna?
So, what did I read of her? I don't think I have. Or did I read? No, I've never read a book by her, but yeah.
Okay.
Some people love
now,
it.
yeah. Well, and I'm gonna be. This is really gonna be a really unpopular opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Kristen Hanna is becoming the Danielle Steele, the new.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. Now listen. I'm forgiven this year because Bob was diagnosed with throat cancer this year. So all of these books went through my brain with nothing but throat cancer on the mind. Now, I had a stretch of about in July when Bob was done with treatment, I read a bunch of good books, and I think it's just a coincidence and an indication of where my brain was at that loved it. Jesus at Walmart. God bless the little author. That's all I'm gonna say. I had a really good run in here after Bob's treatment. Loved The Search for Mr. Darcy.
Yeah.
Loved it. She's a little older. Maybe that's why I liked it. Well, everybody's younger than me, so she's in her mid-50s, and it's a memoir. I love a memoir from an interesting life, and this is her.
Oh, let's talk about that then.
Okay,
Once you're done.
I'm done. Love a memoir.
Wait, what's the difference between a memoir and like an autobiography and like a?
Oh, nothing.
So you love a memoir about an interesting life, yet Dinners for Vampires.
I don't know who. Okay, well, let's talk about Dinner for Vampires. Okay, I'm not going to mention any names, Ginny Riglione. I told Ginny at church that I really was sorry that I didn't pick that as my book of the month.
Okay.
Because it's this woman's experience with a cult-like church, which interested me. But I never watched
One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill, so I don't know who the actress is. Now, Ginny gave me the book and let me borrow it, and she said, I don't care if you have it for 6 months. So it is on my TBR, which is to be read for you unavid readers. Our TBR is our to be read list. I did read about 100 pages of it, and I liked it as a memoir, but I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
You liked it.
I loved it, but let me tell a little confession about me and reading this year is that I have gotten into audiobooks I know it's a hot topic in book club, and I think my book club has made me feel better about audiobooks, being able to count them towards your book count, and it's a hard topic, I know. But I typically only do it when I don't like a book club book and I need to finish the book before the meeting. So like I'll read half the book and then I'll finish it on audiobook. And then I did listen to Dinner for Vampires solely audiobook because she read it herself and I love her. So I feel like that was I like had a different experience reading it than you did, because I listened to it. It felt like I was listening to a podcast, honestly, because of her she really like talked the book. She actually had like some voices from some of my other favorite One Tree Hill characters, like say different lines. So I had a different connection.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know who she is. Let me just say this about audiobooks.
Yeah.
How will you know how to spell or punctuate if you
It's just different. Like I think you
listening
can
to
do
stories.
both. Like I think you can because think about it, like when you read some books, like some are punctuated differently than others. Some use quotation marks and some don't. Like, you know? I mean, hey, I like to read a book. I'm not an advocate for audiobooks.
Well, and I don't like the thing that Dakota uses.
The
Oops,
Kindle.
I mentioned a name.
I do Kindle sometimes. I have a Kindle.
I don't like that either. But I'm a dinosaur. No secret. I like to turn the pages.
There's something to be said about turning the pages.
I do love to turn the page. The other thing is that I really got to find a way to stop purchasing books because I have nowhere.
It's the library.
Oh yeah, the library. Oh yeah, I just invented a library.
Which I got a lot of books from the library this year, which I'm very proud of myself. So maybe that's why it was at the top of mind for me.
Well, and I don't because when I read a book, it becomes my baby and I want to own it.
Yeah,
and if it's summertime, I want it dripping with suntan oil.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do have to not mention another name and shout out to my girl, Felicia DePico.
For which book?
Just for her literary excellence and her reviews. And Felicia always mentions what she's reading, and 8 times out of 10 it's something that I am reading or going to read or have read. So and
the other thing I want to talk about is books that I abandoned. Because that's new to me. I have always needed to read the book, whether I hated it. And this year I have a few that I abandoned, and I'm okay with it.
I will not finish a stinker.
I always had to. Like I felt like guilt, or I felt like waste of time or something. No. So mine are
you're gonna name
which is one that
The Fury?
I abandoned it, and
Alex Michaelides?
I know. And
that was a good book.
I really read probably 70% of that book and just didn't finish.
So Alex Michaelides wrote The Silent Patient.
Oh, interesting.
So this was no Silent Patient, but it was readable.
There was a lot of characters. I didn't really care who was I didn't care.
There was a lot of flip-flopping time frames.
Yeah.
In that. Or there was
not time frames. I don't think it was time frames. I think it was just people.
There was a lot of people.
The other one is Worry. Did you read Worry?
I loved that.
It's not on your list.
Why is it not on my list? I'll tell you why it's not on my list. Because I read that when Bob was having his first PET scan, and I was out of my brain.
And you didn't write it down?
And I didn't write it down.
And now I've had it ever since, so you just have never looked at it again.
You know what? I wrote it down, but I didn't take a picture of it.
Okay.
Worry. With the 2 sisters.
Yeah. And so maybe I didn't feel connected to that because I don't have sisters. I mean, I have my sisters, but I don't have blood sisters. So I was feeling like maybe that's why I didn't feel connected. And it was negative for me. They just were fighting the whole time.
Interesting. I didn't write it on my list.
Wow, so
I
you
didn't
really
take a
have
picture of
26
it.
books.
I do have 26
That's
books.
exciting.
I loved that little book.
That's exciting.
For girls your age,
Yeah.
especially maybe a sister your age, I loved it.
Okay, this one is going to be really hot topic, not for you, but for the listeners, I think. Tomorrow.
Yeah, now should I read tomorrow?
You know, I have it.
Oh, your battery's running low.
They saw it. They saw what we needed. They saw what they needed to see.
Oh my gosh. Can you plug it in? Oh wait, what's running low? The screen or the video?
Tomorrow. I probably will pick it back up, but it has been a book that I've picked up twice, like read a book in between and tried to go back to, and I can't, but the people love it.
I can see the cover.
Yeah.
It's like the faded.
Yep, with the different colors.
People do love it.
People love it, so I don't know what's wrong.
All right.
Oh, I'm also listening to The Third Gilmore Girl.
Oh, I don't know it.
The Kelly Bishop, the grandmother in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
And it's good. She's reading it, so I'm enjoying that.
Is it a memoir?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I'd like that. She's more my age.
Yeah. So, she's older than you.
Well,
She's much older than you.
the last time I said I was somebody's age, you were like, no, more like the grandmother. So.
So hey, I won't be really driving that much until January 1st, so like maybe I will because I'm not working.
The Third Gilmore
Girl. So that's also on my currently reading. And then the holiday romance, I dropped it because Christmas is over and don't need to be reading it, and it wasn't doing anything for me. And now I'm reading Don't Let Her Stay. But so I abandoned pretty much 4 books this year, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
No guilt in that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read romance, but I don't read romance books, but Regina Crawford. Have you read Dirty Diana?
Was this a book of the month?
Dirty Diana was a book of the month club. I was kind of shocked and surprised at how smutty.
Yeah.
Dirty Diana should give you a clue, but they call her Dirty Diana because she had a really filthy apartment in college.
Interesting. Yeah.
But this is an inside out cover book. Like, when you're at the dance studio with your kid and you don't want the other moms to know what you're reading, you just turn the cover inside out. But if you like a smutty little fast reading book about a woman thinking of her old boyfriend, really.
Interesting.
Really, really good fast read.
Okay.
You ready? Oh, wait. We gotta say the wedding people before we take the
that's on my TBR too, so.
Dakota just read it.
Oops. Oh, this one's on my TBR too.
Beautiful Ugly was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
And The River We Remember, Mary Jo Nielsen. See? I think of different friends when I read
nice.
different books. No offense to my smutty book reading friend, but The River We Remember. I don't remember, Mary Jo, if you recommended that to me or if I wanted to recommend it to you, but that I think of you when I see that title. The Wedding People. She goes to a hotel to commit suicide and gets embroiled in the wedding party of a wedding.
I actually wonder if I think it was funny. Like, I feel like I don't know.
Coda loved it.
Yeah, true, so.
I absolutely loved it. And that's the thing with Book of the Month, there's 5 random titles and you pick one, so when you love
pick a genre?
There's 5 titles.
And they're all
different. And they're all a different genre.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to say your pick of the year?
Yes, but I think I have 2. Is that okay?
No. This video is over.
So for different genres, that's why I feel like I have 2. For psychological thrillers, because I do read 2 different genres. I typically go from psychological thriller to like a romance or something like that, back and forth, and then my book club books in between. But so The Quiet Tenant was my favorite psychological thriller. But again, I don't want to recommend it because of how messed up it is. Lots of trigger warnings, but very, very, very good. And then Sandwich is my favorite as well. Yes.
Okay, so I agree with you. I agree with you on both.
Yeah. Wow.
I agree with you on both.
Yeah.
But my pick of 2024, also Regina Crawford, is A Little Life.
It's a popular
by Hanya Yanagihara.
Yeah.
and not just because I love to say Hanya Yanagihara.
I think I'll read that one day.
This book, I read this I read this like in January, February. I read this before Bob got sick. I don't think I would have been able to get through this book with the bandwidth that I had after Bob got sick. But I read this in early January, February. And it's about a friendship of 5 guys or 4 guys. I don't even remember. And it spans a lifetime from college to their mid-50s. And that's what I loved about this book, is the staying power of friendship and what friendships.
Oh, I should read it.
What friendships go through.
Yeah.
Now, the people that I saw online, which is why I bought this on Amazon because people were sobbing.
Yeah.
And before I started crying about my real life this year, I was like, oh, I could go for a good cry.
Yeah.
Did not cry. But I think there's something wrong with me because I'm also the girl that likes serial killers. So it's not that, you can't go by everybody else. Every book hits everybody differently.
Exactly.
But I'm going to say that A Little Life, even though I think it's from 2017, it is my pick for me. It's like 700 pages, and I live to tell about it.
Love it.
Alyssa, thank you for having this book discussion with me.
I
love all of our anecdotes.
Mm-hmm.
I love literacy. And happy 2025.
Yeah.
Happy reading.
Yep.